Hi friends, it's Sharon from Mad Paper Crush here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my August planning. So I've got my planner here and I'm just pulling out a little removable envelope that I had right in the space actually where I wanted to start my August planning. And I'm just pulling out a couple things. So the first one is the month of August, and I'm straightening up my cuts since when I cut it out, I did it very wonky. I don't know what happened there. And then I also wanted to pull out the month of August as well. Now, what you're seeing there is actually a little freebie I have. If you would like to get the bullet journal helpers that you see me using here, that I have all the months for you written out in like a vintage script and some other list titles and all the months of the year and different things, you can go to madpapercrush.com/bullet journal setup, all one word, and you can grab that freebie if you'd like as well. And so now I'm just grabbing my some pens here, and I thought I would pick a couple colors that I thought looked nice together. And these are really bright, which is not my normal theme usually for my bullet journals, but I thought I would try something a little bit different. And so I grabbed a little bit of a purple color, kind of an orangey yellow, and kind of a blue color just to get myself started here. Okay, I've just grabbed an old card to use as a straight edge for myself. I'll be using a ruler as well, but what I wanted to do right here was kind of make a little title box for my month. So I'm just using each one of the pen colors that I had grabbed and making one line right after another. So I kind of have this little striped box where I'm going to put my month in. And then I'm going to grab my ruler and I'm going to create some lines on the left-hand side of my paper. And this time I'm just using, I believe, two of the colors, the blue and the orangey color there, to create a place for me to put my days of the month and dates in the bullet journal sort of vertical monthly setup that I like doing there. So after I get that on, then I'm just going to put my month on top of my little stripes there. And I love the way that turned out, that you can see the August over the stripes that I had put in. And then I'm just going to put the year so that I have that on there as well. And I decided to use the purpley color since I had used the blue and the orangey color over on the left-hand side. And I'm just adding some emphasis with some black for it to just pop out just a little bit there. Then I'm going to go through and I'm going to put my dates and days of the week on my vertical lines. And you can see me kind of counting up to see if I can use my dotted paper to put them in. And I can, but I'm missing like one day. It was there were 30 squares and August has 31 days. So I kind of have to squish them together just a little bit so that I have enough room to get that one line. But once I squish a few of them together, I can spread them back out so that each of my dates falls within one of the squares. And you can see me just trying to make sure I'm at that point where I can stop sort of squishing them together, and that works out perfectly. And then I'll go through and put just the first letter of the day of the week for each of those dates on there as well. All right, moving on to the other side of the page, I decided to do kind of a monthly tasks or goals box here on the top. And I do like to kind of track what things I need to get done during an entire month. So I decided to do the same stripe title box that I had done on the monthly overview side. So that's kind of what you'll see me doing here. And then I want to do another box down below. And so I'm just trying to do the title box here as well. And I'll explain what that box is going to be once we get down there. So I'm just trying to decide how far up or down I want it on the page, how big I actually need it to be. But I'm going to go ahead and fill in my striped title box there. And then I'm going to add just some boundary boxes with my pens as well, so that I have them kind of separated, apart from each other. And as you can see, I definitely am not perfect. As I was coming around on the left-hand side here, I started hitting the rings of my binder. So I'm just trying to see if I can figure out how to get that line in there so that I, have the boundary box in there. So the other reason I wanted to mention that is because I don't want you to feel like everything has to be perfect. I know I see so many of these videos and people look like, the things that they do are just absolutely stunning, and mine never, seem to turn out that way. I like for my planner to be functional, but I also like it to be pretty, but I'm also not going to, kill myself trying to get the absolute perfect design, when really all I'm using it for is to make sure I have a plan in place for my month and my weeks. So I did add, I used my pen and added a couple of brackets on the top of the boundary boxes. And then I did decide to kind of make this a butterfly theme this month. So I have a whole bunch of fussy cut butterflies that I have pulled out. They were already fussy cut. You can kind of see them in the top right corner of the screen there. But I'm using those to decorate my pages. And if you would like to have these fussy cut butterflies as well, these are butterflies from vintage illustrations and biology books and things like that. If you would like to have them, you can go to madpapercrush.com/freebies, and they are on my freebie page. You're welcome to pick those up if you would like to have these fussy cut butterflies as well. So I'm just picking out a couple that I think look nice with the layout that I have going, and I'm gluing them down. All right, now I'm just grabbing my bullet journal helpers again, and I'm going to see if I have any titles left on my clear stickers that I can use for my title boxes. Now, if I didn't have anything, I would just write something in here, but I did find the word tasks, and I also found the word important, and I'm going to be using those two for the titles of my the boxes that I have on the right-hand side there. And if those aren't specific enough for you, you can certainly just write in whatever you would like. But I thought these would be specific enough to me that I would know what they mean in here. All right, for this bottom box, I'm actually trying something new again. So what I am trying to do is I'm going to put a little symbol in here for YouTube and for Instagram, and I'm going to try to start tracking some of my analytics. And I thought it would be fun to put them in my planner because it would be an easy place for me to just go back and look and, see the growth of my channels and things like that. So I'm just drawing very crude drawings here for sort of the YouTube play button and then the square for Instagram. And I'm using one of my colors in the markers there to kind of color that in. I'm going to use my black marker, if I can find it, to outline them so that they have a little bit more detail. And then I'm also going to just kind of scribble in there just to give them a little fun look. Before I did that, though, I was trying to get rid of the pencil lines that I had put in to draw these out. And then I'm going to split this box into kind of 4 sections. So I'm going to track, for now, I'm going to see how this works, but for now, I'm going to track my number of followers. And then also for YouTube, I want to track my views for the month. And for Instagram, my general or average reach for the month, just to see what's happening there. I know the reach will probably drive me crazy since the algorithm on Instagram is a little nuts sometimes, but I figure it would still be fun for me to take a look at what that is every month. All right, and then I'm turning the page so that I can work on a couple of weekly layouts for the month. It's just coincidental, but August starts on a Monday, and that's how I like to start my weeks, on a Monday. So that worked out kind of perfect for me. My July weeks ended on a Sunday, so I'm ready to start into August. Sometimes when I start my weekly spreads on a new month, a couple of days from the old month gets, put into usually the first week or so of the month that I'm working on. But I didn't have to worry about that for this one since August starts on a Monday. So now you can just see I'm working to just kind of separate this page out into 6 blocks. I'm going to use those 6 blocks for my days of the week. The page that I'm working on, I ended up using about 10 dots for each one of my vertical blocks. And then I think it was 8.5 or 9 dots going horizontally for the split in half. So I'm just trying to do something very basic here. I'm erasing my large lines because on the other page when I had left the pencil marks under my marker, it didn't erase well. So I just put a couple of dots along the edges so I kind of knew where I was starting from. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to put my, actually I think it's only 4 lines to separate out my 3 sections vertically, and then I'll go back in and I'll do 3 vertical lines to separate my horizontal boxes here. And once again, I kind of like the way this looks. The lines aren't connected, so they kind of have that little interest there of nothing in between. And then we'll go ahead and put the days of the week on. So for the days of the week, I just grabbed a piece of paper that I thought would look nice, but also didn't have a very strong pattern so that I could write on top of it and you could see, the writing. And I'm just cutting out 7 circles. So these are going to be used for my days of the week. And yes, you are correct. I only have 6 boxes, but a lot of times I put my weekend days together, my Saturday and Sunday in one box, because I don't often have a lot of things I need to plan on those days. So they usually go fine together. So all I'm doing is gluing them 1 dot to each box, except for the last box will have 2. And then I'm going to go in and put my days of the week and the dates that coordinate with those. So I'll be starting Monday with the 1st of August and going through to the 7th, which is the Sunday. Okay, so here's where I am trying to do something a little fun. I love adding flips into my weekly spreads or even my monthly spreads, just to add a little interest and intrigue since it covers up some of the things that I'm doing. So I picked out two pieces of paper that match, one that is a long rectangle and one that is a shorter rectangle. And I'm going to be using these as flips on both sides of my journal. So you can see I was just kind of looking to see if they would fit, and I'm going to put them aside for a minute because I wasn't exactly sure what I was going to do, so I figured I would go ahead and do my second week before I put in those flips. So for my second week, I decided to use just a little candle, a circle from a candle, and make my 6 blocks that way. So my first row there, the one on the left was a little bit too far over, so my circle on the right kind of went off the page. So I remedied that in the second row there, and then I'm going to do the same thing for my third row. So this is basically the same thing that I did on the left-hand week. I'm just making the blocks, and then I'm going to add my dates in. Before I do that, though, I decided that those circles were pretty plain, so I decided to add some squiggly marks just to kind of give those circles a little bit of extra pizzazz. All right, after I added in my little marks there, I went ahead and added title boxes to each of the circles just using the blue marker. And I noticed that it was not very, I don't know, the paper that I was drawing on, I don't know, it was absorbing it too much or something. It just looked very dull to me. But I just kind of went with it at this point. I was kind of like, I can make it work. And that's what I did. So I was just adding 3 little lines to make my blocks there for my month and days. And then I'm just going to write in, once again, the date and the day. I decided to use more than just the first letter, though. I did MON, the first 3 letters of the weekday, along with the date there. And for some reason, in that first block, my lettering kind of smeared a little bit. I don't know if it wasn't totally dry or what happened there, but we are moving right along. And same thing as the other week, I'm doing Saturday and Sunday together with 2 dates after that for the week. And then I went in and just added some brackets there as well to kind of set the title pages or the title boxes apart. And now we need to add some butterflies. So I was looking at my stash and seeing what I had here that might go in nicely with my week, because I wanted to have these pages just kind of overflowing with butterflies, since that's my theme here. So once I find a couple that I like, I'm going to glue them down where I'd like them on my page. And after I got them glued down, I decided that that right-hand page needed a little more. That brown cardstock that I was writing on, I don't know, just kept everything looking very dull, especially with those markers that I was using. They're kind of highlighter pens, so they just kind of faded into the background. So I picked up my black pen and just kind of went over the scribbles that I had done in the first round with the pinkish pen there purple pen. I'm not sure even what color that was, but the black really helped those marks to pop out more. And after that, I even added in some dots and things just to have some additional marks on this page. All right, once again, we are back to our flips that I'm planning to put on either side of this page. So once again, I'm just kind of seeing if I like the way they fit. And then I decided that I would continue my striped theme across these as well. So I went and grabbed my straight edge again, and I'm once again going to create kind of a striped title box for each of these where I can put in the words this week, so that if I have specific things that don't necessarily fit into a day but need to be done during the week or something like that, I can just add them to these pages here. So I'm using all three of the pen colors that I had originally pulled out just so I have something there. And then I didn't have any this week words in my stickers, so I did just go ahead and write them in. After, of course, I had to shake them around a little bit to make sure they were dry. I was nervous about my pen smearing again if things weren't dry, so I wanted to be sure that everything was nice and dry. And I'm adding my brackets on the edges to kind of delineate the ends of those title boxes. And then, of course, we needed more butterflies. I did put one on the long rectangle, but I decided not to add one to the small rectangle because it was already small. I didn't want to necessarily take up any space that I might be using for writing on there. So I decided not to put one on the small box. Okay, so now I'm going to my little ephemera folder there, and I'm grabbing some washi tape that I'm going to be using to put these down with. Now, you could use, washi tape that you buy in a roll. I'm using some washi tape of my own design that I have printed out, and I've printed this out on white sticker paper. So I decided to use that instead of regular washi. I do have a washi tape freebie if you would like to grab that. If you don't have any washi, you can grab my washi tape freebie at madpapercrush.com/marbled washi, and it's a page of different marbled designs in strips that you could cut out and use as washi tape. If you don't have any washi tape and you don't have sticker paper maybe to print onto, you could just print it on regular paper, and then you can cut out little pieces like you see me doing and just use glue. You don't have to have sticker paper, and you don't even have to have washi tape. You could even just use scrapbook paper pages, that you have scraps of or something like that. So once I put the pieces of tape on the top and bottom where I wanted them, I decided to cut out small little pieces to cover up any of the stickiness that was showing through on the fold there. So you can see I have washi tape on both sides of the flip. And then I'm going to do the same thing for this one. I'm deciding, where I want it to flip up. And then I'm going to cut my strips there, and I will add them to the flip that I'm making. And then I will just kind of put them on the bottom of this cardboard page as well. And I'm trying not to get too close to the bottom, you know, so that the page doesn't hang off when it flips over. So you can see the edge, the top edge of that flip there is actually above the bottom of my page, so that it, you know, will stay enclosed in the book when you fold it up. And then I'm doing the same thing here, cutting 2 more little pieces to put on this side to make sure there's no stickiness from the washi tape on the other side coming through here. And as I was going over my flip on the left-hand side, I realized that it kind of needed something in the middle. It was sort of bending kind of out of place, and I didn't want it to do that. So I just went ahead and added another little strip to the inside and outside of the flip in the middle there to kind of keep that on more secure. And I decided to do more butterflies. I'm sure you're not surprised. So I really wanted to look for butterflies on these pages that were contrasting to what the scrapbook paper already had on it. So I picked some with some bright yellows and oranges that would really pop on that paper, that scrapbook paper there. And there you have it, friends. We have our August ready to go. And you can see I have a monthly overview page. I decided to do tasks and tracking some analytics on the right side of my monthly page there. And then I did start the first 2 weeks. So any of the links that I talked about will be linked down below to the freebies and things that I mentioned, as well as some of my tools if you're interested in looking at those. Thank you so much for joining me, friends. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did and you're not subscribed, I hope that you'll subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video.